The video was originally shared on Reddit on 26th of January 2025, and the story it tells is one of heartbreak, resilience, and love. It's a deeply personal journey through loss, grief, and the complexities of saying goodbye to a loved one. This is not a tale of the supernatural, but rather a raw and emotional account of the very real struggles that come with watching a parent fight for their life and ultimately letting them go. Earlier this month, the uploaders shared a deeply emotional experience that unfolded when their father was admitted to the hospital. It had been clear for some time that he wasn't well, though he initially believed he was dealing with something as common as the flu. The situation took a grim turn on his birthday when he went into cardiac arrest. As if that weren't eerie enough, this was also the same date that the uploader's mother had passed away from cancer exactly 10 years prior. This strange coincidence lingered in their mind, leaving them to wonder what it might signify, if anything at all. The father survived the cardiac arrest and was brought back, sparking a fragile hope in the family. Yet, deep down, everyone prepared for the worst. Since late 2019, his health had been deteriorating, even though he always put on a brave face and pretended to be fine. The reality was far from it. His list of medical issues was extensive, including having a tracheostomy, and he'd been in and out of hospitals numerous times, often landing in the ICU. Each time he narrowly escaped death, displaying a toughness that the uploader admired. But this time, things felt different. Immediately after the cardiac arrest, he was placed on life support. His body depended on high oxygen levels, ventilators, and a host of other interventions. Over the next 2 weeks in the ICU, his condition refused to improve. He was conscious at times, but mostly drifting in and out of awareness. His body was battling multiple infections, including pneumonia, a particularly stubborn type that tends to affect immunocompromised individuals. The uploader knew their father wanted to fight and live at all costs, but it was becoming clear that his body was growing weary of the battle. Last Friday, while the uploader was at work, they received an urgent call from palliative care. The message was stark. His chances of survival were slim, and the family needed to make a decision. The medical team offered the option to transition him to palliative care, allowing him to pass away peacefully. This was a devastating choice, and the uploader, alongside their stepmother, bore the weight of making it. It was the hardest decision they had ever faced. That day, they stayed by his side. The room was filled with an outpouring of love and support as family and friends came to say their goodbyes. Despite his weakened state, their father made sure to tell everyone that he loved them. Though he wasn't told outright about the decision to let him go, it seemed as though he understood. The uploader couldn't bear the thought of him being scared, especially after seeing the fear in his eyes over the past 2 weeks. His time in the ICU had been marked by delirium, restraints to prevent him from pulling out tubes, and an inability to communicate clearly due to the tracheostomy. It was a heartbreaking sight. A man who had always been strong and self-reliant reduced to such vulnerability. The uploader stayed with him until the end. Watching him pass was an excruciating experience. It took over 2 hours, and even as he was given medications to make him comfortable, his body resisted. That resistance, that fight, made the uploader question everything. Did they make the right choice? Could he have recovered just as he had in the past? These questions haunted them, especially after their sister voiced her doubts, asking, "What if he can get better?" The weight of that "what if" became a constant echo in their mind. Compounding their grief was a strange, almost supernatural feeling the uploader had experienced. They admitted to having a knowing about the ages at which their parents would pass away. Their mother had died at 53 and their father at 62. These ages had somehow been etched in their mind for years, filling them with dread as their parents' birthdays approached. This sense of foreknowledge felt like an ominous shadow, one that left them questioning the nature of intuition and fate. Could this knowing have been a coincidence, or was it something more? It wasn't the first time they had felt this way. They'd experienced similar feelings of foreboding with other loved ones and even pets. It was a strange and unsettling part of their life that they'd never fully understood. These thoughts fed into an irrational guilt. A part of them worried that somehow by fearing or anticipating these losses, they had caused them. Logically, they knew this wasn't possible. No one has that kind of power. Yet the feeling persisted, adding another layer of complexity to their grief. They shared how over the Christmas holidays they had chosen to stay longer at their parents' home, almost as if they subconsciously knew their father's time was running out. The mix of sorrow and relief they felt was overwhelming. On one hand, the loss of both parents before turning 30 was a devastating reality to face. On the other, there was a strange comfort in knowing their father was no longer suffering. Since 2019, their father's health struggles had been a constant source of worry. Every day, they lived with the fear that something might happen to him. Now that worry was gone, replaced by a void, a silence that felt almost foreign. They admitted to feeling relief, a sentiment that came with its own burden of guilt. How could they feel relief in the face of such a profound loss? And yet, they remembered feeling the same way when their mother passed. In sharing this story, the uploader posed a question to others who might relate. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever experienced a sense of knowing when someone's time was near, or felt that strange mix of grief and relief after their passing? It was a complicated emotion, one that many who have cared for a terminally ill loved one might understand. They wondered if others had felt guilty for that relief, or if anyone else had struggled with the what-ifs that come with making impossible decisions. As they reflected on their experience, they also expressed gratitude for the support their father had received in his final moments. The love and presence of family and friends meant the world to them. Even though their father couldn't communicate clearly, the uploader could tell he felt the love in the room. He was surrounded by the people who cared about him most, and for that they were thankful. The uploader's story is one of heartbreak, but it's also one of resilience. It's a reminder of the strength it takes to make difficult decisions, to let go of a loved one, and to navigate the complex emotions that follow. It's a story about the strange ways in which life and death intertwine, and the mysteries that surround us in moments of profound loss. It's a story many can resonate with, as it touches on universal themes of love, grief, and the enduring bonds of family. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Share it with your friends so they don't miss out, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Till then, stay safe.